was a hospital that was notorious for being haunted. It felt creepy when you were looking at the cameras, almost like there was a presence in there watching you.
I was assisting with being in charge of this unit. Staff had made me aware that our unit is haunted.
I felt like I was starting to make whatever it was angry.
All the anxiety, the worry, the hate, the sorrow, all of that energy just soaks into the space.
I think that the spirits are stuck there because of the terrible things that people went through in that building.
It's not uncommon to hear whispers that an old or abandoned building is haunted. But when more than one spirit is rumored to roam the halls, it may be more than a simple haunting. It could be evidence the location is a supernatural hotspot.
Certain locations can be a lightning rod for paranormal activity. Places in which there was a great deal of emotion, whether positive or negative. Places of great tragedy. Places where people have died consistently or en masse can all be attractors of paranormal activity.
And in a small town in northern Ontario, at a psychiatric facility with a storied past, 17-year-old Annibeth plans to sneak in and spend the night in this haunted hotspot on a dare.
Johnny, my boyfriend at the time, was hired as an overnight security person. He just got posted to a hospital with a very creepy past. Everybody that lives where we live knows in some way, shape, or form that this place is haunted. It was a hospital that did things like lobotomies back in the 30s. In some of the windows, you could still see old medical beds that have restraints on them. This building definitely contains a lot of suffering. It's a very haunted place for the things that happened there. I got there around 12:30 because his shift started at 12. Being out there by myself, not knowing exactly when he was finally gonna come let me in the door, really gave me the heebie-jeebies. You felt a sense of like someone was watching you all the time.
Johnny? Johnny, don't do that.
Wow, you really are scared.
I have a huge fear of the paranormal, like to the point that I can't even watch a movie and I know it's fake. But something about being young at the time and kind of just wanting to impress my boyfriend, like, oh, I'm tough, you know, was ultimately what led me to go.
Let's get on with the tour.
All right. Don't say I didn't warn you.
I went into that hospital knowing it was haunted just because I was being kind of reckless. I felt like I had something to prove.
There's definitely areas that are lightning rods for paranormal activity. These are areas where there's been a lot of death or a lot of traumatic experiences that have imprinted themselves on the area.
The hallways, which led to the security office, were very freaky in the sense that, like, the paint was falling off the walls. The lights were like dim and flashy, like everything you'd expect in a horror movie, but in real life kind of thing. We had to walk down there and it definitely gave me creepy vibes.
Is there anyone else around?
There was only 2 night nurses that were working, and then there was 2 security guards. Johnny, who did the patrols, and then the other security guard that stayed behind a desk at the main door.
Here we are.
It was just like a little tiny room, had like a couple filing cabinets in it, and there was a desk with a chair and a computer screen on the desk.
Check up the security for.
Copy.
Thanks, man.
Be right there.
Hold on.
Just gotta do this first.
What am I supposed to do while you're gone?
Watch some TV.
Johnny was definitely nervous that I'd be seen. So it was a little too risky for me to be that out in the open, walking around the whole entire hospital. He didn't want to take the chance that he was going to lose his job over bringing me in for one night. All the camera angles were just looking at different hallways around the building. I could see Johnny walking around on them while he was doing his patrols.
Nerd.
But he definitely made it very clear that it was a very creepy place to be walking around at night, especially since he had to do checks around the whole entire hospital. He had to do this all in the dark by himself. There was a lot of creepy things that went on the cameras. The cameras would turn off for no reason and turn back on. That room felt creepy when you were looking at the cameras, like almost like there was a presence in there watching you. I saw cloudy circles floating across the screen.
Of all the various types of locations, perhaps one of the most active would be the hospital. We receive a disproportionate number of reports of paranormal activity from mental health care facilities. And the reason is simple. So much negative energy occurs within the walls of those places that it manifests in paranormal ways.
I felt very afraid when I was looking at the cameras because I didn't want anything to pop up. I felt like if I didn't acknowledge the ghosts, they wouldn't bother me.
Then, something appears on the screens that Annibeth can't ignore.
When I was looking at the camera, a youngish boy came down the hallway and I kind of like rubbed my eyes thinking that I'm seeing things.
Calm down. It's just me.
Look at this.
I called Johnny over and I said like, hey, you gotta come look at this.
Who's that boy?
And he comes and he sees it as well.
Whoa.
The boy disappeared into the wall outside of the security office.
I've never seen that before.
You think you're seeing things in the moment because like it's hard to believe that something like that would be real, but Johnny said that he saw it as well. So that's kind of what validated what I saw. He he opened up the door and I could see him on the camera and there was nothing there anymore. All I know is that it vanished.
There's no one in the halls. I have no idea who that boy was. All the patients here are adults.
He thought it was weird because up until that point, he hadn't seen anything on the cameras. It just happened to be the night that I'm there that something appears.
You have two entities in the same space. They want to get someone's attention. They want them to know that they exist. They want to see how they're going to react. It's unpredictable. You know, we don't know what these spirits are capable of, how the environment is going to react to us.
Okay, can I get out of this room?
In a minute. I have to finish my rounds first.
I really did not like when he had to go leave to do his rounds. I would actually sit in the corner of the room on my phone, trying not to look at the screens. It was very hard not to look because it's like when you're watching a horror movie at home and you're like peeking through your blanket where you don't want to watch and you're like, don't look at it, but you can't help yourself. So when he was actually doing his rounds, the orbs and stuff became a lot more intense. It was definitely a lot more frequent.
Easy. My rounds are done.
Can we finally get on with the tour like you promised?
Yeah, let's go.
Around 3 or 4 in the morning, that was when I decided that I wanted to finally go see the experiences he had talked about.
So, where's this haunted elevator you told me so much about?
I wanted to see the elevator, which was at the end of the hall from the security office.
This way.
I definitely felt a little bit of fear. It was almost like a wake-up call from being all tough guy in the office, to going out into the actual experience itself.
All right, push the button. Take us up.
The elevator dings when it gets to the floor. But then the doors didn't open.
What's wrong? Is it broken?
You have to say, hello, Harvey.
Are you serious?
That was when Johnny told me there was a ghost named Harvey. You have to say, hello, Harvey, for the door to open.
Hello, Harvey.
I was like, there's no way this is actually gonna happen. As soon as I said, hello, Harvey, the elevator door opened. I was absolutely flabbergasted because I kind of thought he was pulling my leg the whole time.
After you, madam.
Are you sure we're safe in here?
It really creeped me out because I already have kind of a fear of elevators as it is. Knowing that something paranormal was controlling what happens to me in this elevator was definitely very nerve-wracking.
Let's go up one.
So I pushed the button to go to the second floor, and normally the elevator doors would close, but the elevator doors didn't close.
Well, what's the magic word?
Please?
Don't tell me. Tell Harvey.
Please, Harvey?
When you push the button to go up, you have to say, "Can we go, please?" to Harvey. I had a lot of fear while that elevator was moving. What is this elevator capable of? What if it didn't like me? It was like something out of a horror movie. It stopped at the floor, but the doors did not open. It didn't matter if you clicked the button.
You have to thank Harvey.
Thank you, Harvey.
When I said thank you, Harvey, the doors opened right away.
Doesn't this stuff get to you?
I've seen it before.
It was kind of normal to him. He was like mentally prepared for it where I was not. He had already experienced it before, so it didn't really faze him. He never really had a fear of the paranormal. He was okay walking through the hospital, doing his job.
Do you want to head back down?
I'll take the stairs. Thanks.
This might be a spirit who decided to remain in this area because it had some kind of significance to that spirit. For spirits that know that they have died and they are staying for whatever reason, a lot of times there's a lot of loneliness associated with that. So that spirit does seek an acknowledgement. You know, it doesn't want to feel invisible for the rest of its existence. A lot of times we're afraid to make that acknowledgement because we're afraid it's going to create more activity. But in fact, it's just like passing by someone on the street and saying hello.
After experiencing these bizarre paranormal encounters, Annibeth seeks refuge outside the building.
I really needed to just like take a minute to breathe and process what had just happened. Johnny also smoked, so we kind of just went together anyways.
You can go home if you want. You don't have to go back in.
There was definitely times I considered leaving.
No. I'm staying.
I just decided ultimately to stick it out.
You ready to see the basement?
Let's do this.
I definitely went there to experience something. I just didn't expect it to be as terrifying as it was.
Annibeth's boyfriend leads her into the most haunted part of the hospital.
Lights don't work down here. We're gonna have to use flashlights.
Are you kidding me?
Here. You wanted to come. Ready?
Yeah.
Up above us on the ceiling, there was like those big vent pipes. As I walked closer to this vent, the vent started to shake louder and louder and louder. The sound was like something was trying to escape. It sounded like fists pounding against the metal. But as I walked back away from the pipe, that was when the shaking would stop. I approached the vent again because I thought maybe it was a weird coincidence, and it was kind of like hard to believe. You could tell that something was not happy.
I guess he doesn't like you.
I was totally freaked. You felt a lot of anger, especially anger. I felt some sadness as well.
A long time ago, a patient went missing. They finally found him in here, dead. I dare you to do it again.
So I ended up doing it the third time because Johnny wanted to dare me to do it. That third time, I felt like I was like really starting to make whatever it was angry. I started to feel like a lot of anger more than the first and second time. I just felt like I was intentionally making this thing mad and I needed to leave.
I've seen enough.
And that's when I said enough is enough.
I want to leave. Now!
I was out of there as quick as I possibly could.
This spirit in this vent might be either a spirit that's trapped there or wants to remain there. So as people approach it, it starts that baying, and that baying generates fear. The message this spirit is trying to convey might just be, this is my area, stay away.
I think that some of the spirits are stuck there because of the terrible things that people with mental health issues went through in that building, especially when practices with mental health weren't addressed properly. I went to wait in my car for him to finish his shift. I don't know if I was in shock, but I was definitely in disbelief that I had actually experienced the things that I did.
Never do that again.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I just want to get out of here.
Yeah, for sure.
I would never explore a haunted space again. That was more enough for me. I have never felt anxiety before, like the day I was in that building. I felt so much anger, so much sadness, and once I left and I was off the ground, it was like all of that released from my body the minute I left. Kind of made me reevaluate how precious life is. Just seeing like these poor souls that are trapped somewhere forever. They still could be trapped there to this day, and just makes you appreciate life a little bit more. Johnny could see it was taking a toll on me, and it was taking a toll on him mentally for that reason, so he ultimately was okay with quitting.
Not long after Annibeth's terrifying night, the psychiatric hospital was permanently shut down.
They ultimately ended up closing it a couple years later just because the building was old and unsuitable for people to continue to live in.
This building might almost be functioning as a body for these spirits, to where you have one in a vent, you have one in the hallway, you have one in an elevator. There's such a part of that structure. The demolition of this building might in fact set these spirits free.
Even though they scared me and it was a lot of stress, I don't wish ill upon any spirits. I always want them to find their way home.
A condemned mental institution from a bygone era could be expected to be haunted by the ghosts of its past. But a modern hospital complex can also be a hotspot for paranormal activity. It may only require the ability to see the truth of what's really there, as a veteran nurse is about to discover.
I'd worked at that particular hospital in different roles, but this was a new position for me. I went to college as an older student, and I met this girl who wanted to be a nurse, and it was just gonna be the most, amazing thing. And I'm like, well, why are you all jazzed about being a nurse? She goes, well, it doesn't matter. It's not like you'd ever get into the course anyway. That was a dare. And so here I am, 31 years later. Being a nurse suits me in that I'm a very logical person, and I like to figure out problems.
Hey.
Oh, hey.
This was one of the first times I'd been on that unit.
LeeAnne.
Andy.
So it was a, get to know each other sort of chit-chat. Where have you worked? What have you done sort of thing.
Well, I'm gonna do some rounds.
Okay.
Do you want to come with me and check it out?
Yeah.
Okay, so this thing hasn't worked for a while.
Every hospital has their own story.
Do you need supplies or anything? We've got some in here.
If you're new there or unfamiliar, there will always be someone or a group who will let you know what that hospital story is. There was a shared piece of information from the staff about, oh, by the way, our unit is haunted. I'm like, okay, I've heard stories before. They're like, no, we have our own special haunting. And my experience happened the second shift I came there. All the rooms were dark, all the patients were asleep, and I saw a curtain rustle. The curtains did not reach all the way to the floor. There was an 18-inch gap. I saw a pair of black leather, shiny dress shoes going around the bed.
Sir?
Black socks, black slacks. Very clear, very distinct. My first thought was, doctors don't wear patent leather shiny shoes. I had not heard the door open. I had not seen anybody come into the unit.
Sir, can I help you?
Who's in this room this time of night with this patient?
Andy, visiting hours are over, right?
Yep, same as every other ward.
Were you expecting your patient in room 240 to have a visitor?
And they said, no, there's nobody here. It's 11 o'clock at night. And I said, well, there's someone in the room with your patient.
All visitors are supposed to check in with me first.
And so his protective instinct for his patient and his curiosity, he's like, who's in the room with my patient? I went to the threshold of the door. It wasn't my patient to go into the room. The nurse pulled back the curtain. I could see that there was no one else in the room besides him and the patient.
Are you sure you saw someone? What do you look like?
Well, I didn't see a whole person.
Well, I just saw the shoes. He said, what shoes? Every hospital has their own story about having someone who's a harbinger of death. It was a Catholic hospital, and over the years, there had been many stories of a priest. Everybody understood that if anyone saw him, that was going to be a patient who would pass sooner.
You okay?
I'm not sure.
It was confusing, it was unsettling.
There are a few places more paranormally active than the hospital. You get all of the world's drama within a relatively small stage in a hospital. You have new lives coming into the world, you have lives leaving it, everything in between. And so those places seem to be more haunted hotspots than many other types of location.
It doesn't take long for LeeAnne to discover that her hospital is a hotbed of paranormal activity.
This was very late in the evening. It was too early for morning lab to have arrived, and too late for anyone else to have entered the unit. I heard the electric doors of the unit open at the far end. So I looked down the hallway to see who had arrived.
Excuse me, sir?
And I see this man, this middle-aged man, coming down the hallway in a kind of rumpled dress shirt.
Visiting hours are over.
My first thought was, you know, who's coming down the hallway in the middle of the night? Then my second thought is, wait a minute, I know this man. This was someone who had passed away a year ago. I was looking at a person, but I wasn't looking at an alive person. I was looking at a ghost. And this was his unit. These were his patients. He made an abrupt left turn and went straight into the patient's room. He had been a trauma surgeon. He was standing at the end of the bed, looking at the patient. He did not acknowledge me. But as I stood there, the energy was coming back at me is that I was being intrusive on his time with his patient. And so I apologized to him. I'm just here to check to make sure everything's okay with your patient.
I'll leave you to it.
Knowing how dedicated he was to his patients in all the years that we worked with him, that he would, in spirit, maintain that dedication is not a surprise. It's a warming, welcoming thing. No matter what they needed, no matter whether it was day or night, he would show up.
There are several reasons why a spirit or an entity may be associated with a specific place. One could be that it is in fact trapped, that it's earthbound. Or it might be that there is a personal connection that the spirit has, a specific emotional tie to this location, which makes it unwilling to move on. One of the reasons we see so many ghosts of holy people and of medical providers is this compassion-driven work ethic. They are still ministering to their flock, they are still caring for their patients, long after their physical body is gone. she is learning effective ways in which she can work alongside them and that they can all exist together with that same goal of caring for human beings.
As nurses, we hear stories all our careers. And, you know, for patients to have visitation in some form or another is not an uncommon story. So one evening, I was alone recovering a patient. I am standing facing him, so my back is to the open room. And I hear noise behind me. I assume it's one of my colleagues coming in.
Andy?
And this person, he was looming over top of me. It was very intense, very powerful. My initial instinct was back off. I don't know who you are, back off.
What do you want?
And then I realized, okay, this isn't anger, this is anxiety. This is someone focused on someone else. This isn't a negative energy. This isn't directed at me at all. This is directed at the patient. So he's here for the patient. My work friend came in the room a little while later. I did not share because once again, you don't know how people are going to react.
Can you help me with something?
Of course.
I need to get a pad under the patient.
Yeah, sure.
I'll go on that side if you want to lift him from this side.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
The sensation of his watchfulness dissipated when the patient woke up. So that was his purpose, was to make sure that he woke up.
LeeAnne's sensitivity is sometimes referred to as a gift, but gifts are not necessarily easy to receive and to accept. In this particular case, although she's making some headway dealing with the physician and the priest and other spirits, she's still trying to figure out the full scope of what her ability to interact with the other side means.
I have the ability to recognize what I'm experiencing, accept it, and to observe, as a nurse does. Nurses are problem solvers. We're the ones who are watching how everything's affecting people physically, emotionally, intellectually.
And at the haunted hotspot where LeeAnne works, there is plenty for her to watch.
The entire gamut of human emotions, you know, laughter, pain, love, sorrow, jubilation, depression, everything generates emotions, and hospitals concentrate that, and it's a continuous, never-ending flow. It's not uncommon for the spirits of deceased friends, family members, loved ones to return and help us. They come through some kind of doorway to reach us, but doors allow other things through sometimes.
LeeAnne is about to discover what else can pass through the doorway between this world and the next.
I decided to go up to the cafeteria to grab a coffee. There is a bank of elevators outside of my workspace. There was no one waiting for an elevator. Unusual. These elevators pass through some very major communication areas in the hospital, and there's always lineups to get into these elevators. It's constant, nonstop, 24 hours a day. No one in the elevator. Very unusual. I got in the elevator and I have to pass through multiple floors to get to the cafeteria level. The elevator stopped at the surgery level. I'm expecting to see stretchers and tons of people, and there's nobody there. The space is empty, there's no people. I was rushed by something that came at me through the elevator, slammed me up against the back of the elevator. I felt like I was going to die in that elevator, die, and no one would know why. It was this overwhelming pressure. It was control. I have control over you. You can't move. You can't do anything unless I let you. I was held there for as long as it takes an elevator to move a flight. I was hyperventilating. I was sweating. Get away from me! This was the only time in my life that I can remember being absolutely terrified. I'm not afraid of bugs or snakes or the dark or anything. I've never been one of those people. I don't know what was more terrifying, the physical threat I felt, or the fact that what it wasn't human.
It comes as no surprise that we sometimes see darker, sometimes even malevolent energies that are drawn to care facilities with spirits of the dead, sometimes lingering. These entities will sometimes flock towards areas of high potential energy, high spirit activity.
Whatever it was, I was in danger. I could feel it. I did not use that bank of elevators again for 4 years.
We know that LeeAnne has the ability to perceive spirits and spiritual activity. And it's entirely possible that this is why she was made vulnerable to an assault in the elevator. And unlike the priest, unlike the surgeon, she does not know what this one is. She doesn't know what its motives are at all. And that's alarming to her. Get away from me!
A couple of weeks afterwards, the staff were changing shift. And there was this young nurse. He was very tall and lean, and I didn't recognize him. He was being followed.
Who's the new guy?
That's just John. He's working the night shifts.
There was a man behind him. This was not an actual visible man. This was like a shadow on a wall. The outline was indistinct, but it was right behind him. And it followed him. I felt a protective instinct for this young nurse. Like, why was this thing attached to him like that? This was not something that was trying to help him or be of any use to him in a good way. I wanted to approach this young nurse and ask him, has there been any deaths in your family? Have you lost anybody recently? And unfortunately, he was leaving, and I never did see him again. I never saw that nurse again.
Certain locations are certainly lightning rods for paranormal activity. We're lightning rods ourselves. We generate such a unique energetic signature.
I think there is a lot of energy in hospitals because of the heightened emotional state. The joy, the sorrow, all the anxiety, the worry, the hate, the love, that all of that energy just soaks in to the space. I'm a witness or a conduit to what's going on. I can see what others cannot see. But at the same time, what is my responsibility in acting or not acting? If you're willing to go through these experiences, you need to make sure that you're okay first, that nothing you experience is going to be detrimental to you before anything else happens.
Hospitals are a place where hope and fear, life and death all meet, and where intense emotion can lead to increased supernatural activity. These paranormal hotspots are home to some spirits and a prison to others.